Some people walk into a room and instantly earn respect. They don't have to speak loudly. They don't have to beg for attention. It's not luck. It's a hidden force Carl Jung called an archetype. And once you understand it, you can make people respect you without saying a single word. In the heart of Manhattan, where skyscrapers cast long shadows across Wall Street, thousands of people rush to their destinations. Coffee in hand, eyes glued to their phones, bodies weaving through the crowd. Here, attention is the rarest currency. Yet every so often, someone steps into this chaos, and without trying, they pull the eyes of strangers. They don't need to shout. They don't need designer clothes or a famous name. It's in the way they walk, steady, deliberate, as if the entire street belongs to them. This quiet magnetism has nothing to do with ego. It's something deeper, something Jung believed was older than history itself. A force hidden in the human psyche, called an archetype. Most people think first impressions are about words. They believe if they talk enough, list enough achievements, or show enough confidence, they'll earn respect. But here's the truth. Respect is decided before you speak. In a coffee shop on Fifth Avenue, a young man nervously explains his job to a small group. His words tumble out too fast. He lists his degrees, his projects, his goals. But the more he talks, the more their attention fades. They glance at their watches, check their phones. Why? Because respect isn't about information. It's about presence. People feel your energy before they hear your story. That energy comes from the archetype you naturally project, and whether or not it aligns with who you truly are. Carl Jung believed that every human carries universal identities, ancient roles that have existed in every culture, every story, every generation. He called them archetypes. They are so deeply wired into the human brain that we recognize them instantly, without needing an explanation. The king, the sage, the warrior, the creator, the innocent, the rebel. These roles exist inside us, whether we choose to see them or not. When you meet someone, your subconscious makes a lightning-fast judgment. Do they fit one of these roles? Can I trust them? Do I respect them? That judgment happens in less than 7 seconds. And the powerful part is, you can choose which archetype you lead with. Now imagine a boardroom in downtown Chicago. The air is thick with tension. 10 executives sit around a long glass table, speaking over one another, defending ideas, fighting for control. Then the door opens. A man steps in, not rushing, not smiling too wide, not trying to win anyone over. He simply takes a seat, sets down his folder, and listens. Within minutes, without raising his voice, he has the room's full attention. When he finally speaks, everyone stops talking. The leader archetype doesn't need to dominate with noise. They dominate with calm. They radiate certainty. They project the unspoken message. I've got this. And that assurance makes others feel safe, placing their trust and their respect in them. Shift the scene to a lecture hall in Boston. Students fill the rows, notebooks ready. At the front stands a professor, quietly arranging his notes. He doesn't open with a joke. He doesn't pace the stage dramatically. Instead, he begins to speak slowly, weaving ideas and stories together in a way that makes time feel suspended. The sage archetype is respected because they hold knowledge that matters. They don't flaunt it, they share it. Every sentence they speak feels earned, tested by experience. The sage makes you want to listen, not because they demand your attention, but because they awaken your curiosity. They make you feel smarter just by being in the same room. It's 1 a.m. in downtown Los Angeles. The streets are mostly empty. Neon lights flicker against wet pavement. A woman walks alone. Her steps are measured, her eyes sharp. She's not careless. She's alert. But there is no fear in her movement. This is the warrior archetype. Discipline and courage in human form. They stand their ground, protect what matters, and move forward even when others freeze. Warriors don't have to prove their strength. Their very presence says, "I can handle whatever comes my way." In a world where so many people hesitate, the warrior earns respect by showing they are already ready. Archetypes are not trends. They're not tricks. They're not something you learn to fake. They're deep, primal signals built into human psychology over thousands of years. Before we had cities or language, humans relied on instantly recognizing who could lead, who could teach, who could fight, who could heal. That recognition still lives inside us. That's why you can meet someone for the first time and feel, without any proof, that you trust them or you don't. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. embodied both the leader and the sage. Eleanor Roosevelt carried the advocate and the nurturer. Steve Jobs balanced the visionary and the creator. Their archetypes didn't just shape how we saw them. They shaped history, but there's a danger. Many people try to borrow an archetype they haven't earned. They dress like a leader, but avoid responsibility. They speak like a sage, but lack real understanding. They imitate the warrior, but run when pressure hits. This is called archetype misalignment, and it kills respect instantly. People may not be able to explain why, but they can feel when something doesn't match. Archetypes are not masks you put on, they're mirrors that reflect who you really are. If the reflection is fake, people will see through it before you even realize it. So where do you start? First, you must discover which archetype feels natural to you, not the one you wish you had, but the one that flows effortlessly from your personality. Are you a leader, quietly steady under pressure? A sage, always searching for truth? A warrior, ready to stand your ground? Or perhaps another entirely? Once you know, you don't hide it, you strengthen it. You adjust your body language, your speech, your decisions to align with it. You stop forcing people to notice you and start letting your presence speak for itself. The magic of Jung's idea is simple. When you live your true archetype, respect becomes inevitable. You don't chase it. It comes to you the moment you enter the room. The visionary is respected because they see what others cannot. They live partly in the present and partly in the future. They are not afraid to speak ideas that seem impossible because they understand that the impossible is simply the unattempted. From inventors to artists, visionaries draw people in with the sheer force of their imagination. They inspire respect by refusing to settle for what is when they can see what could be. The creator doesn't just imagine, they make. Their respect comes from skill, patience, and the ability to bring something from nothing. Whether it's a song, a design, a product, or a movement, the creator shows the world that they can leave a lasting mark. People admire them because they prove, again and again, that the act of creating is one of the purest forms of power. The caregiver earns respect not by dominance, but by compassion. They give without expecting anything in return. They protect the vulnerable, comfort the grieving, and stand by others when times get hard. This archetype's strength lies in empathy. In a world that can feel cold and self-serving, Caregivers are respected because they remind us of our shared humanity. The explorer commands respect by daring to go where others won't. They crave the unknown, whether it's a physical journey or an intellectual one. Explorers inspire us because they embody freedom. They're not trapped by fear of failure, and they're not limited by the boundaries others accept. They make us believe there's always more to discover. The rebel earns respect by breaking rules, but with purpose. They challenge the systems, the ideas, and the traditions that no longer serve people. True rebels aren't reckless. They're strategic. They earn admiration because they dare to say no when the world expects them to say yes. They show that courage sometimes means standing against the crowd, even when it's uncomfortable. The Lover is about connection, not just romance, but the ability to make others feel truly seen and valued. Lovers earn respect by making people feel special, by listening deeply, remembering details, and offering warmth without conditions. They remind us that influence isn't always about power. Sometimes it's about presence and emotional depth. So how do you find yours? Start by noticing when you feel most alive, most natural. Respect flows from authenticity, from living the role that fits you like a second skin. You might be drawn to leadership without fear, or maybe your curiosity pulls you towards sage-like wisdom. Perhaps your courage reflects the warrior, or your compassion matches the caregiver. The secret is not to imitate, but to identify what's already inside you and bring it forward intentionally. Once you know your archetype, you refine it. You learn the body language, the tone, the energy that expresses it without effort. If you're a leader, you practice calm decision-making. If you're a sage, you deepen your knowledge. If you're a creator, you master your craft. This isn't about pretending. It's about becoming sharper, clearer, more consistent in who you already are. That's when respect becomes automatic. Here's the final truth Jung understood. Respect is not something you chase. The harder you run after it, the further it slips away. True respect happens when your presence tells people who you are before you say a word. When your archetype is alive in every gesture, every glance, every pause. When you walk into a room and without even trying, people just know. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss our next thrilling adventure.